Who in the heck was Cooper Webb flipping off over the finish line? Yeah, we saw Deegan flip off multiple people at Detroit, but it wasn't over the finish line. Very, very interesting photo. Brown Dog Wilson, he's got a lot of these, so make sure you go follow him. And if I am speculating, I say it's everyone that's in front of him that thinks that he's a little bit not ready to win a championship. He's not the best rider on Star Yamaha. Funny how one race can turn everything around, especially for the positive or the negative. He qualified 11th and ended up winning the race. So you could speculate that the FU is to everybody in front of him. If we look at Deegan, he qualified 8th and was able to win. If this doesn't show you the depth of the field, I don't know what's going to. If we start right off the bat, I want you to pay attention to Cooper Webb coming into the whoops, lap 1. Watch what he does. Beautiful, doing his typical jumping scenario, because jumping actually ended up being the fastest line through these suckers just because of the breakdown of the dirt. But if we rewind this, what I want to point out is he lands off the double and he wheelies straight into the face of the starter whoop. He was the only rider I saw do that all night long. Every other rider would either triple, and I'll get into that, which was crazy, or start off by a small scrub, then triple. Cooper lands off the double, wheelies almost all the way over it, then goes triple. The fastest rider of the whoops and of the night was Beast Mode, Eli Tomac. And this was the best line through the whoops. Watch what he does. So fast. He ends up doubling out. And how was his rhythm different than the other riders? Well, it's because he actually jumps off the starter whoop. And we have Hunter in front of him do it as well. But watch what Hunter does. Hunter just doubles where Tomac is going to triple. Only rider tripling into the whoops like that. Boom. Front wheel high, gets down. Motorcycle soaks it up completely as opposed to kicking his ass end up because he's still on the gas. If you're letting off, that's when the suspension is going to do stuff. But if you still have the power down, it's going to be able to move underneath you. And then he goes double, then triple, and double. And probably the coolest line through the whoops was what Kenny was doing amongst a couple other riders. That looked real fast, but he's in the air quite a bit because he's tripling into him. Look at this. Big seat bounce. Landing on the triple of the starter whoop. That takes such cojones. Then he's going to go triple. Here, we'll watch that one more time because how crazy that was. That is by far the coolest way to go through the whoops, but I still don't think it's the fastest and most effective. Even though that's better than blitzing the whoops, because when you're blitzing the whoops, you've got a lot of fighting with the motorcycle and you're at mercy of all these check bumps and ruts that could make you crash. Every time you're in the air, it gives a rider the ability to breathe, let go of the motorcycle, prevent arm pump, relax a little bit. That's why you see these guys start jumping through them so much. And another reason why they start jumping through them is because they start off really rounded, and as riders hit them, they start getting sharper and sharper. Therefore, then they can downsize them and do it. Because at the beginning, you can't jump through the whoops. You got to wait for them to break down a bit. And they start breaking down a little bit to where they're not a complete triangle. It ends up being at a different angle. We all know that Forkner had his contact come out, so his depth perception was off. Watch what happens. This is all in the same lap. Watch Forkner down here. He's going to try to wheelie into the start section that all the other riders do, but his timing is just off. Here, if you see that, this was when Deegan was all over him. Yes, there's probably multiple things with pressure. If he had such a good lead, he might not have crashed because he could have slowed down and been, whoa, I can't do that line anymore because I don't know where I am on the track. And watch how he cases it. And just a lap later, he ends up tattooing himself to the concrete. Interesting to point out that he tries to initiate the wheelie, but he's just a second too late. And not being able to do that, he doesn't get the right drive to preload and clear the step over. So he cases it real hard, but he's able to soak it up. And that same lap, though, it is interesting that he ends up pulling off the same line that Ken Roczen was doing by tripling into the whoops. And it looks really smooth. Looks very smooth. And we see him on the second triple actually shift down and get ready for that corner. Supercross is about halfway over. Springtime is just around the corner. We all want to look our best. We all want to be at least 1% better every day, and Coach Rob can help you do that with his educational bundles. He's got one for weight loss. He's got one for nutrition performance so that you know what you're putting into your body. I urge each and every one of you to go over to CoachRobStore.com. Check these out. Earlier in the night in Forkner's heat race, watch what he does coming off the finish line in the step on, step off through the sand section. Looks incredibly fast, but watch his feet. If I zoom in on this stuff to slow it down, he instantly comes off this step on, step off, and he starts using the rear brake as a foot peg. And he's still accelerating. He's still accelerating into the sand, but he's trail braking, and he doesn't get off of it till right here. And notice where he is on the bike. He's keeping the bike underneath him. He is on top of the motorcycle. There's that ass crack right there in the seat. He's weighting the outside peg beautifully. So if this ass end is going to slip out like a lot of these bikes do in the sand, he's able to then just stand that motorcycle right back up as opposed to falling down with it. If he was parallel with the motorcycle, just straight up and down, he could low side and crash in the sand. But see how he's able to pick that motorcycle right back up to get it straight. Now he's straight with the motorcycle, and he's able to double out as that motorcycle is slipping out underneath him. Really well done. If we look at Deegan, watch Deegan as he comes through the sand section in the main event. Just slides that motorcycle around. Again, this is a guy that qualified 8th. Look at him standing up, weighting that outside peg. Most of his weight is on the outside here. He's doing exactly what Forkner was doing, but he's just standing up doing it. Look at how he's scrubbing it. He is, again, he's not straight with the motorcycle. He's still riding on top of the motorcycle, letting that sucker go. Wow, just super impressive. Well done. And Deegan goes even one further. My favorite line through the sand was most riders started going to this outside line all the way around. Deegan ended up cutting it in half, and this actually ended up being his line to cut over what the typical line was. Back to the inside. It might not have been the fastest, but it's not following. And whenever you're not following, it proves how confident you are. And as opposed to plowing through this deep section of sand, he actually jumps out to cut the corner, to square it up, to go outside in. Yes, Forkner has more momentum exiting, but again, Deegan is not following. And just for giggles, watch Beast Mode come through the corner. Okay, let me show that one more time here. You've got AP, who is no slouch, but he's braking. He's going to turn, and then he's going to start accelerating. Notice the roost on his rear wheel. Doesn't start until he's pivoted and he's ready to accelerate. Now watch Tomac. Tomac is sliding the ass end around, and he's going to accelerate throughout the entire corner. Very subtle, but him doing that every lap, every corner just helped him have those 45-second lap times throughout the entire 27-lap main event. 27 laps on a Supercross track. Wow. In closing, if you've made it this far, make sure you wheel tap that subscribe and notification icon. Helps out the YouTube algorithm and the channel as well. I'm finally over 50,000, and it is because of you, the viewers. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Kenny is the smoothest rider on the track. This is that section where a lot of guys had trouble. Look what he does. Let me point out what he does. It's not faster, but he's the only rider of the night that went for this. He decides to not triple over because it's getting increasingly more difficult, and he just made a mistake. He lands on top. And what does he do when he lands on top? He accelerates off, and this is a triple lip. This is like a 7-foot lip, something that you're not supposed to step off. Normally, when you step off of something, the obstacle in front of you is lower. This is level with the tabletop. So makes it so much more difficult where no other rider was able to get over it. And he just went for it. That is essentially going for a quad. Because if we watch other riders that make the same mistake, this is AP. Lands on top, decides to shut it down. Shut it down. And maybe you could say he doesn't have as much room because of the rider next to him. I tend to disagree with that. Ooh, look at how tall that is. It might even be taller than the lip. Crazy for Kenny to get over that sucker. Till next time, keep it WFO. Ba-ra-da-da-da.